Thanks for your patience. That was my power going out. I warned you, we got mad storms. Hopefully, it might happen again, but we're going to play Grubfish. So, hit exclamation mark play and get in because we got to redo the game. So do that. Sorry for interrupting you wherever you were there, Robert.
Oh, no problem. I think we were just about to get back to the Grubfish anyways.
All right. If you have any questions for castles, you can still throw them in. We're going to do numerous Grubfish right now in a row. Which you don't have to continue hanging out there, Robert. Definitely appreciate you being with us. Hopefully my power don't go out again. We got mad storm outside. It's going nuts though. So
really?
Exclamation mark play. Get in on the Grubfish. The next game will be top 5 win the 10-pack of wood. After that, we're going to do Doom Rollers for a bit using our prizes. So this will be the last one with Castle's prizes. And we'll sign off, Robert, here in a minute. So if anyone has last-minute questions, you can go for it. I certainly learned more about castles, even though I've looked at it already. This helped me learn more, and maybe I'll try to, especially when one land, that's all you need to start getting something. Maybe I'll start merging. So that's really cool. I hope people that were here earlier learned a little bit if you didn't know about castles, and get in on the ConsumerBreak and play their game by Wednesday. Also get in on ConsumerBreak and put in the password castles to get a bonus game. The bonus game will end in a few hours, so but Wednesday will be the main game. Robert, the best strategies to succeed in the game, what do you think?
Yeah, the best strategy is to get a castle and a lumberjack and like 2 or 3 carpenters. If you can get those 3 assets, you're set up pretty well. Barons are really important in the early game, and they're still important now if you can afford them. But if you can't afford, basically like $1,000 of assets, but if you can get a castle and a lumberjack and like 3 carpenters, it sets you up pretty well for the game. Why? Because then you can slowly, basically, earn enough to make the land packs. So Baron's also good future-proof. He is kind of in an interesting point in his lifetime. I still think a Baron's great, but if you just get Barons and castles and lumberjacks and carpenters, if you can get those, you're really set up great in the game. The game is set up to benefit people who own castles and who own Barons. And so if you can get those assets, that's really the best way to go.
Awesome. And then those bounties get you that wax. Is there other things the bounties do?
Wax, the new one gets you rune source. So you earn rune source based on how many land packs are crafted. So that's what the Explorers Guild does. It gives you the rune source, and the rune source is what you need for dungeoning. Lord Cryby says, will there be a maximum amount of Barons minted? Yeah, actually, there is a scarcity component for the Barons. We basically, we've decided, or rather, it's sort of set in stone that we only release about 64 Barons a month for this year, and the next year it's half that. So right now we've been releasing 64 Barons a month. We have another about 6 months of that, or maybe 5. And then next year it's going to be half that. So we're only going to drop 32 Barons a month next year. So yeah, there's scarcity there. Eventually, it's going to basically get down to, I don't know, just a couple of Barons a month, not many. We're probably going to set a limit. I forget what the limit is. We have a paper. It's probably I don't know, 6 or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It's in the white paper. But yeah, there's a very minimum amount of Barons that
the
would be
Barons. So that's the big dog you want to get up to. All right. All right, anything else, guys? And we'll sign Robert off and we'll play some games for a little bit. It's definitely been a pleasure, and I'll be be checking out what announcements you got coming on Thursday, and we'll be giving out or the game ends on Wednesday. I'm not sure when the prizes will go out, but the winners will be announced Wednesday night. We're doing trivia on Wednesday night, and I'll probably announce them then or something, or soon after that. Lord Crab, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So Lord Quibey's asking, what will happen once we reach 500k farms? Well, that's when the first scarcity checkpoint comes in for the lands. We call it the doubling. And what the doubling is basically everything that it takes to craft a land, whether it's a Baron recharge cost or a land pack crafting, it costs double. So if it costs if it costs 1 royal seal to recharge a Baron now, which it does, after we cross the 500k farms minted line, well, now it's going to cost 2 royal seals in order to recharge a Baron. And the idea is that we keep growing the user base, and so these rare assets start to become less and less attainable for essentially the same value. But we'll, so it's something we're working on, and we're almost halfway. We're getting close to halfway to the 500k farms minted. And so basically what's going to happen then is just going to be harder to merge lands. It's going to be harder to make castles a little bit. And that's going to keep happening. There's going to be multiple doublings, and that's going to keep going up. So there's eventually going to be a soft cap on how many castles can get made.
Awesome. Awesome. So you got a lot of stuff coming up, and the sooner you get in, the better, because the longer you wait, the more expensive and the harder it will be to get different things, which is a good thing, and it happens with a lot of collections. But you got that all implemented in, and you got it all working together with your tokens, and really tight project going on. They seem to really know what they're doing. Hit up their Discord. Puzzle Puzzler's been shilling links, so hit up their links if you're interested. Maybe throw it on a bookmark, check it out later. Hit up the Discord, ask questions, especially if you want an NFT. You'll start using it. Other than that, if I'm not seeing much else, really appreciate having you, of course. Thanks to everyone that's followed, was here for the stream. If you have any parting thoughts, you're welcome to give them. And then we're going to play a Grubfish for another round of fine wood prizes, and then we'll do numerous doom rollers for our NFTs.
All right, yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Breakman, and your community has been really awesome. And I love to do these little AMAs and interviews, and appreciate your app as well. As someone who's also a business owner, I know it is no easy feat to build an app.
Yeah.
and acquire users,
especially when you don't know how to do things. You said you have a team. That's great. You gotta find that team, build the team, and if you don't have the people or the network to do it for free, kind of like we do, you have to hire them, and that hiring costs a lot of money. And if you don't have that revenue yet, it's just a tough thing. So it's great to see projects that get beyond that part of it, for sure. And we're still kind of working on it, but we're getting there now. The collabs are coming in, and it's great for ConsumerBreak. Thanks to WAX.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be hard in the early stage. And actually, just like you, I started only me. Like literally, it was just me in a room. And how I got my start was basically made like an MVP that wasn't even a real app. It was just basically like a prototype app that wasn't you could interact with it, but it wasn't a real app. It was like you could click on things and it would do things, but it was just me, and just over time I was able to grow the business and actually make a real product. But in the beginning there was no team. It was just Robert and his crazy ideas on YouTube.
Yeah. I know what it's like. So how did you run into Josh? Or did he come
he
later?
was one of the first people to join our Discord. And in the early days, since we didn't have a product, I took what little money I had and I put it into Facebook ads. And I just told people my vision. I was like, hey, this is what I want to build. Come check it out. And the webpage basically sent them into the Discord, had a link for the Discord. So he was the first people in there, and he was just like kind of dissecting my idea. And that's how we got started. And that was like almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
But started literally from nothing.
That's beautiful. Well, so you're the man. That's beautiful. And then you put in a little bit of ad money, and then somebody come in and just talking about it, and the next thing you know, you're partner. So that's great. We also put in a lot of ad money in Facebook ads starting out. Pre-Wax a couple of years ago, we had a bunch of cash prizes. But those things cost money. Your ad has to be tight. You have to really communicate what you're doing right. You have to target right, or else you're just squandering money. So it's awesome that Josh was pulled that way, and then was interested enough to really dig in and become part of it. That's great. I love that. Just 2 years ago, and then here you are with all these users, and hopefully much more to come. So fantastic.
Yeah. A little suggestion for you, I'd say check out a podcast or a YouTube called This Week in Startups. I don't know if you're familiar with it. No, but I've listened to this podcast religiously for the last couple of years.
Okay.
And I actually was just in their founder university today. So right before I was on this call, I was in what's called a founder university for them. And it's just other business creators like us, just like, learning the ropes of how to get investing. And pitching and learning how to pitch. But that's, you already have what's called the minimum viable product, which is your app, and it's already like an actual app. So you could actually start to find investing just with what you have right now. It just takes more work, obviously, but I'd suggest checking that out, because they have just like tons and tons of information about how to raise money.
From my experience, it's hard to get because people that don't know, that's what they think. Oh, I have an idea, now I'm going to get investors. Most investors, if that's what they really are, angel investors or VC, they need traction. You can't go to them with just the idea. You need that MVP. What you say? I mean, we do have the MVP. So.
Ideas are nice, but who they really back is the founder. So if you're someone who's working your ass off and you actually have something, like you have an MVP, like if you were just an idea guy, you wouldn't even have the app, right? You wouldn't have the channel, but you actually have things. So, I mean, all you're really missing is probably just bigger team, more users, that kind of thing. And as long as they can see that you're actually progressing, like growth is a big thing too. Like, for a long time, we only had like maybe 50 people on our Discord regularly, and now we have, hundreds. But for a long time, it wasn't anything, but it was growth. I was able to go from 50 to 2 years later, hundreds. And as long as you can basically prove to founders that you are growing, but to investors that you are growing, that's one of the biggest things, because you're growing as a hard worker, and really that's what they're backing. They're backing your your product and your work ethic, and they're backing you, really. So as long as you're that person, they'll fund you.
Well, I guess the future's in the air, and there could be many good things coming in that sense of things too. I didn't really expect to get investments till we're good and a bit bigger than this even. But I'll check out the podcast. Appreciate the advice there. Puzzle says, what does the average player in game make in WAX? An average player.
An average player? I don't know what you mean by average. Like average can mean anything. But you look at it this way, if you're someone who's playing castles and you're mostly interested in like earning something, if you have a castle right now, a castle produces basically 7 royal seals a week minus the 1 that it takes to recharge it, so that's 6 royal seals a week. They're selling for close to $4 right now, so let me just do the math real quick. So it's 6 times, let's say 4 times 4, that's almost $96 in passive royal seals a month. Now, things are going up and down. The market's really volatile, so I can't promise you anything. But if you're just there to resell the commodities that you get out of your assets, then you get $96 a month right now out of a castle. It's been pretty consistent, and we're only doing everything we can to grow the game. But the biggest thing about castles is you have to play it. And you have to have a general understanding of what's going to be valuable to people. And what's going to be valuable, I think, is just playing the game, making the new assets. It's the people who basically buy a farm and try to sell all the M-source thinking they're going to pay their bills who don't do quite as well.
Okay.
You kind of, it's really all about playing the game.
You got to keep that in mind just for WAX in general. WAX isn't really a place to buy and flip and make money like quick. Like go Go some
It
of
used to be.
Yeah, I'm sure it used to. I've heard that. But I'm seeing a lot more utility, and I want to. I said that last stream, but I want to see more of that, to where people are doing it for the fun of it, for the future, for the future gains of it. It's nothing. It's not it's not a quick flip thing. It's you're having fun, you're earning, and it's rewarding while you're playing and collecting, and then in the future, since hopefully if you're in early, you can start kind of making money later.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna say. If you like come in a game, you play it, and you're like, oh, this is actually fun. I like this. Well, then buy your assets and play the game. If you come to our game and you play and you don't like it, well, then it's probably not for you.
And you can, and then at that point, if you have NFTs, then that's the beauty of it. If you're done with a game, then you can flip it. Just put it on the market for somebody that does want to play. So you can always dip your toes in and then just sell potentially at a profit what you got in if you're no longer into it. That kind of goes for all the games, and that's awesome for NFTs. So
yeah, better than having nothing. So
for sure. So we're gonna move on. So thanks again for being here. It's been great. Obviously, you can hang out and if you want, you can even play the Grubfish if you want. But we're gonna say bye to old Robert here. We're gonna do another Grubfish for Castle's prizes. Then we will do numerous Doom rollers for our NFTs. Then we're gonna raid somebody. So thank you all for being with us, and thanks, Robert.
All right, thank you, Breakman. Thank everyone, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Fantastic.
Have a good day.